think it
like
really...
a proper newscaster.
No, I mean, it's
and
fine.
I've got a real problem with that. Hello and welcome to Steady News. I'm Susan Story, and this is Tilly Tail.
Hi there.
So, do you want to explain to everyone why you're dressed like this?
Well, I heard in today's story someone gives a gift, and so I thought, dress as the best-known gift giver. I'm Santa.
You know that this is a very serious news station, don't you?
Oh, come on, Susie. Nothing wrong with having a bit of fun every now and then.
Well, it looks like you've wasted enough time on this nonsense that it's time for our first ad break.
And welcome back to Steady News.
Yes, and it's time for our next tape in our series of the greatest story ever told.
Oh, I'm so excited. I want to see if Santa's in it.
Jesus was in Bethany. He was on his way to the house of Simon, who had a harmful skin disease. Whilst Jesus was on his way there, a woman came to him. She had an alabaster jar filled with expensive perfume. She poured this perfume on Jesus while he was going. His followers saw the woman do this and were upset. They asked, "Why waste that perfume? It could be sold for a great deal of money, and the money could have been given to the poor." But Jesus knew what happened. He said, "Why are you troubling this woman? She did a very beautiful thing for me. You will always have the poor with you, but you will not always have me. This woman poured perfume on my body to prepare me for burial. I tell you the truth. The good news will be told to people in all the world. And in every place where it is preached, what this woman has done will be told, and people will remember her.
So, no Santa. Told you there wouldn't be.
But it was still an awesome story. There must have been so many people around, but Jesus still took the time to talk to that lady, and she gave him some lovely perfume.
Yeah, I suppose it was quite a good story, wasn't it? And thinking of all those people, I think it's time for you guys to learn your next essential newscaster skill.
Yeah, today we're going to be working on paying attention to our surroundings.
To accurately report on stories, it's imperative that we know all the little details about a scene.
Yeah, you can't forget anything. So we're going to show you a clip of the scene today, and it's your job to count the number of people you see.
Yeah, make sure not to get distracted though by all the other things going on.
Whoa, that was such a busy scene. Did you guys get all the people? There were 16 in total.
Yes, well done, trainees. I'm sure you're well on your way to becoming expert newscasters.
So, Susie? Well, I was thinking, since none of that world-ending stuff you were talking about happened last time you sent Annie back in time, I thought I'd just do it again.
No. Just because it didn't happen last time doesn't... You've already done it, haven't you?
I mean, Uncle G would never do anything that could hurt us.
Look, I've never even met this Uncle G. Who is he?
That's simple, silly. He's my dad's brother's friend's sister's nephew.
Well, I mean, of course he is.
Oh, Annie's just made contact. Over to you, Annie.
Yes, thank you, Tilly and Susan. Today I am in Bethany outside the home of Simon, a man who has allegedly been healed of leprosy by this man Jesus, whom people are watching very closely this week as they try to decide if he's a prophet, the Messiah, or indeed a public menace. I'm here today with Peter, a man who calls himself one of Jesus' disciples and has been travelling with him for some time. Hello, Peter. Thank you for agreeing to talk with us today.
You're welcome. Happy to help.
So would you mind telling us why you're here?
Sure, yeah, so we're visiting Simon and we're just sharing a meal with him before we move on this week. That's all.
Thank you. Sorry, what is the story here? Okay. So, Peter, did anything unusual happen during your time at Simon's house?
Yes, actually, something pretty unusual did happen.
And what was that?
Well, we were eating and a woman came in with a beautiful alabaster jar of expensive perfume and poured the whole lot over Jesus' head.
The whole thing?
I know, we couldn't believe it at all. We were always trying to find ways to look after the poor and vulnerable, and the money that could have been raised from selling that perfume could have really helped.
Well, this does seem like a bit of a strange thing to do.
Well, then it got even stranger. Jesus wasn't upset with the woman at all. In fact, he was annoyed with us for criticising her. He told us that she had done a good thing and that she was preparing him for burial.
I'm sorry, what you've lost me there.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure I understand that either. But I got the message. He told us that this woman's act of devotion would be remembered and talked about for years to come. So she must have done that, the right thing. I'm sure we'll fully understand one day, but it seems to me that maybe she just wanted to give her best to Jesus, like we all should.
What if you don't have expensive things to give him?
I don't mean necessarily expensive things, but the best of whatever you have, your time, your abilities, that kind of thing.
Well, thank you, Peter. That's certainly given us more of an insight into this Jesus person. Has given us something we can all think about. This has been Addy Action. Back to you in the studio.
Whoa, that was so cool. I wish I could be the one going back in time.
That was a rather enlightening interview, wasn't it? I still don't think you should be sending people back in time all willy-nilly, though.
Come on, Susie, lighten up. It's important to get all the facts, and what better way than to, be there.
I think it's time for our next advert break, and maybe after that I'll have been able to talk some sense into my co-host here.
Are you ready, steady, here we go. We are going
fun to...
No.
It'll be fun to have in the background.
No, Tilly, you can't just bring an elephant into the studio. I don't care how small it is.
So boring.
No. Oh. Welcome back to Steady News. Now it's time to hand over to Ian to talk about the importance of, of wearing the right footwear on the scene. Over to you, Ian.
Hello, Rafa. Did you hear the story about the lady who poured her best perfume all over Jesus' head?
Really?
Yes, and it's causing quite a stink.
Oh no, I had forgotten about your jokes. So, Cherub, why is it causing some bother?
Well, the disciples appear to be majorly miffed. The perfume was the whole bottle and was super expensive. But then I guess the disciples thought it was a waste and the money could have been spent elsewhere.
I see their point, but why do you think the lady did this generous act?
Because she loved Jesus, really loved him, and wanted to show her love for him, and this was her very best she could give him.
Indeed, Cherub. And Jesus knew this and accepted her gift.
You know, Rafa, I've been thinking,
Oh dear.
when Jesus was a baby, the wise men gave him some pretty strange gifts, didn't they? I mean, most baby humans seem to get teddy bears and rattly things, but they gave him myrrh,
Which is what?
a really, really expensive perfume, a bit like the one the lady used today. But Rafa, isn't it used to, anoint bodies?
Cherub. This lady had recognised what many others at the time completely failed to see. She knew that Jesus was the boss's son on a very special mission, and that the next week of his life would be his hardest.
Oh, Rafa, and she wanted him to face it, knowing that he was loved. Oh, I might cry.
Indeed, she did a beautiful thing.
And Jesus smells so lovely.
Thanks, Ian. Very informative.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure we'll all remember the importance of not wearing sandals when reporting from a mountain.
Yes, now it's time for Sonny to give us the weather report.
Yes, thank you, Susan and Tilly. Well, the weather today is attempting to be as unpredictable as it possibly can be. There was sun earlier, but now it's turned to rain with wind and hail. There's probably going to be some snow later, and maybe there'll be some more cats and dogs flying around. But it is a horrible, miserable day. Anyone would think that this is being broadcast from England, but no, it's not. I left England for this precise reason. So the only good thing going on in town at the moment is that weird but lovely smell of perfume that seems to be lingering around for some reason. It's weird, but it's lovely. This is sunny day, Newcasters weather, steady news.
Thanks, Sonny. Looks like it's going to be a mixed bag today.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what footwear would be appropriate for today. Maybe I'll ask Ian.
Yeah, good idea. Now it's over to Debbie to show us how to make something to remind us about the story that we've heard today.
Hooray!
Good morning everybody, my name's Debbie and I'm going to show you how to do today's craft. So in your pack you should have an envelope that says Tuesday on it, and just be a bit careful when you're tipping this one out because you're going to have lots of glittery things. So you should have 3 packets of clay and some sparkly, glittery, various bits and pieces. And so today we're talking about the story of the lady who bought some very expensive perfume and poured it on Jesus' feet and washed his feet with it. And that perfume came in a pot. So we are going to make a clay pot. So when you're making this, if you think about maybe that you might want to give it away to somebody, so you can make a pot that you think that you can give to a friend, or you can give to someone in your family, or maybe you decide you want to keep it. So you need to open up your 3 packets of clay. You should have 3 different colours, but you'll all get different colours to me, because it just depends what colours come out of the packet. And sometimes they're a bit sticky, so just open it up as best you can and peel it out, and then sort of stick it like that against the silver foil, and that gets most of it out, and then we can roll it into a nice ball before we start. So we've got a nice green there, got a purple. I think you're supposed to be able to, you can tear them. I didn't think I could do that, so I was cutting them with scissors. And then my final colour is orange. So I'm going to make my pot. I think I'm going to make my pot out of little worms and do a rolled pot. So I'm going to cut that in half, and I'm going to make a nice long worm here, like that. And then I'm going to swirl it round to make the base of my pot, like that. And then press it a bit to make it a bit flatter. And then I'm going to take the next colour and I'm going to make that into a long, thin worm as well. Try to make it even all the way along so you haven't got very thin bits. And then I'm going to wind that round the edge there and then start to build up the sides of my pot like that. And then we'll take some of the very bright green, it's a very nice colour, that green, and roll it into a ball and then roll it into a shape. Now do be a bit careful about where you roll this, because it does come off on your hands and it does come off on your table, so make sure that you've covered your table or your working surface with something that can be wiped down and that you're not going to get told off for making a mess on. So I've got this covering on my table, so it doesn't matter what I do on it. And then we're going to make the next layer here. Just sort of pinch those together to join the bits together, and then I'm going to go all the way up round like that, to start making my pot. And I think I'll do one more layer and then just sort of squeeze it all together. So I think we'll finish with an orange layer. I mean, you might decide you don't want to make a pot, or you could make a pot, a thumb pot, where you make a big ball and you just basically put your thumb in it to make a hole. I'm sure you've got much better imaginations than I have of what you could make as a gift for somebody, to show them how much you love them out of this clay. So I'm just going to finish it off by winding that there, and then squeeze it together. And then we've given you some sequins and some other things so you can decorate it, so I'm just going to put some sequins around the edge like that. Oops, that one doesn't want to stay on, it prefers to stay on my thumb. And go around like that. Just push them in like that. Oh, let's not have two green ones next to each other, let's have a red one next. Oh, it still doesn't want to go in. Very nice sticky thumb. And then that's a silver one. I think we need a gold one there, look, just to cover up that join. There we go, there's your pot. Now this clay is air drying clay, so you need to put it somewhere where it can just dry out for a few days, and then it probably won't hold water, but you could use it to put little knickknacks and things in it. The other thing to be careful of is where you're leaving it to dry, just put it on a piece of paper, because otherwise it might stick to your windowsill or your surface. So if you just pop it on a piece of paper to dry, then you won't have any problems. Or you could just pop it on the plastic envelope that the stuff came in, and leave that to one side, and in a couple of days that will dry, and you can give your lovely present to someone that you love, to show them how much you love them.
Whoa, thanks Debbie. I can't wait to make that later.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. And now it's time for our final advert break.
Jump, I will share a bottom bump, 'cause it's so much fun being loved by God. Every action is a special message. Every action is a sign. Every action is a way I show I love God, and I love that He loves me. held by God. I will crouch, I will stand, and I will whistle if I can. Every action is a special message. Every action is a sign. Every action is a way of showing I love God, and I love that He loves me.
Every time I laugh, every time I sing when I take a bath, every time I wake up late and I don't quite make it in on time for class, every time I climb a tree and look as far as I can see, I know that I love God and I love that He loves me. Some people say I'm crazy, but I just say I'm free. When I jump up and down and tell the world that God loves me, my friends might think I'm crazy, but I tell them I'm free. Cause I love God, yes I love God, and I love that He loves me.
Every action is a special message. Every action is a sign. Every action is a way of showing I love God, and I love that He loves me. Every action is a special message. Every action is a sign. Every action is a way of showing I love God, and I love that He loves me. Every action is a special message. Every action is a sign. Every action is a way of showing I love God, and I love that He loves me.
Some people say I'm crazy,
I love that He loves me.
my friends might think I'm crazy.
I love that He loves me.
Some people say I'm crazy.
He loves me.
Thank you for joining us for today's training. We'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye.
No.
We are